welcome to In Conversation with Hemali. Do you all know there is an ancient game called Dadu, which is played by the Dawoodi Bohra community? Or also this game called Koladan, for that matter? Well, neither did I, but thanks to Sophie Johari, a Mumbai-based entrepreneur from whom the world is now learning about these and more ancient Indian board games. Please welcome Sophie, who under her brand SoSophie specializes in handcrafted, hand-embroidered bags, organizers, accessories, and traditional Indian board games like Dadu and Koladan. She makes each and everything by hand, and it takes her hours and rather days to make one set. Let us hear more from her about these amazing board games. Thank you, Sophie, for gracing this channel, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Hemali, for putting me on to this.
Thank you. So, Sophie, tell us, what inspired you to create SoSophie?
So the thing is, I've always been doing embroidery since childhood, though it was more of stitching at that time, but the passion was always embroidery.
Okay.
And many years back, my daughters decided that why not create a brand called SoSophie, because you've been doing all these designers, small things and just gifting away.
Right.
So we did come up with the name SoSophie, and I think it was gradually forgotten.
Okay.
But then in 2017, when I created these board games, Dadu and Koladan, and we put it up on Facebook, and just orders started pouring in.
Wow.
For that. And then we decided to, restart SoSophie.
Okay.
As a brand.
All right. So do you have a picture or something? Can you show us what Dadu or Koladan looks like? Would you have it around here?
Not right around me. I wasn't prepared for this.
No, that's all right. I just thought in case you have it around you, then maybe the viewers can have a look at it, and one never knows till one sees, right? So yeah.
Right.
So anyways, so Sophie,
of course, on my social media, people can go to Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
And have a look at them.
Definitely. So I'm just thinking, these days people are more into online games, and so was it a challenge, for you to get them interested in board games, really?
So I think when I put it up on social media, I started getting orders, and I think then people realized, even people who had played these games or they had them at home, they took it out from their cupboards, to restart playing and introduce them to their children, basically.
So
a lot of people had played in their childhood, like I had done for myself, and when they started introducing it to their children, I think the children automatically got more interested. Because I think by the time, since so many years, children are on the screen playing computer games, and they're bored of them also.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole thing about playing a board game is so different, because every time I remove the Scrabble board and we as a family sit down to play, it's so much more fun, to do that together. That's very interesting. So so it wasn't really a challenge for you to get people interested into board games?
I don't think it was a bigger challenge as such, because it was very organic.
Right.
People just started getting interested. And then as I started putting up more and more pictures, the awareness increased.
Right. Okay. So there are so many ancient games, right? So how did you decide on making these few games? And if you don't mind, if you could even explain to us, what is Dadu like? I mean, how does one play the game?
So Dadu is a specialty of the Dawoodi Bohras.
Okay.
Even when I started putting it up online, I checked everything online and I could find other names of other ancient games, but not Dadu. Koladan is known by other games in South India, other names. It's played with little different rules, and it's known as Ashtachamma and some other names.
Okay.
But Dadu is exclusively, I think, our community game.
Oh, is it right?
And it's actually, it has a snake-like grid.
Okay.
So it goes U-shaped and then again like this. Okay. And it's played by two teams.
Okay.
So if there are just two players, it's not much fun. You can have the maximum number of people in each team. Wow. And it can get as crazy as a cricket match
Oh, is that
when
right?
there is a big group.
Wow.
Yes.
So,
So the idea is each team has around 8 pawns,
mhm.
and you try to take your pawns to the opposite end from where you start.
All right. Oh, okay. So, I'm just wondering why so limited to the Bohra community? I'm just thinking why.
I don't know why it wasn't introduced to other communities, because I think people just played the games that they knew in their own homes.
Yeah, yeah, right. So what made you kind of decide on these two, and these games only, whereas there are so many ancient games available? How?
So as I said, because it is belonging to our community, I thought, why not introduce it to others?
Ah,
So at the end of the day, I have created like more than 150 board games, of
wow.
which includes Dadu, Koladan maximum. I think 95% includes only Dadu and Koladan,
So
and then a few other games.
so have I understood you correctly that apart from Dadu Kuladan, which were the ancient games, you have created your own games?
Not my own. There was a gentleman who got interested in getting the other board games, of which he gave me drawings,
Okay.
and he asked me to embroider them for him.
All right. And that's how it all came in. Okay.
Yeah, so then I also learned about those games
Well,
because he introduced me to them. Yes.
lovely. So tell me something. Was it important to create your brand? And if yes, why?
I think creating the brand gives you more visibility,
Mm-hmm.
and there is an exclusive, like I do even very different packaging. My even packaging of the games is in the form of an embroidered pouch.
Really? Wow.
Even the pawns and the cowrie shells with which these games are played. For
Yeah.
that also, I create a small embroidered pouch.
Oh my
So the way
goodness.
I do my packaging is very different from and unique from what others do it.
That's very interesting. So do
Like I
you?
mean, other games, you find other games in the form of cardboard boxes, or
Yeah.
that's how you get your packaging, right?
Yeah.
So
So so you do it out of cloth? I mean, is your packaging done out of cloth? I mean, do you stitch that packaging also yourself, or do you kind of yeah?
yeah, it is made out of cloth, and I do all the stitching also myself.
Fantastic. This is so interesting.
Right.
So, with COVID striking in and, all of us becoming home based, has your business been affected in terms of, getting better, or was it affected the other way around?
I think as far as inquiries are concerned, it was much more
Ah,
than before, because people were interested in board games, sitting at home and playing. They wanted to play,
right.
but there was also the problem of how to
Yeah,
courier them abroad.
right.
In India also it was difficult initially. Of course,
It was.
now after the second wave, it has become easier,
Mm-hmm.
because once the courier services have started, I have delivered outside Bombay,
Oh,
because I reside in Bombay.
so you have your
But
market outside India, is that right?
yes, yes, I have delivered to Singapore,
Yeah,
Italy, UK, US, Australia, uh,
fantastic.
even the Dubai.
All
So
right.
right now I have pending orders from Singapore and Dubai, but there's no one traveling to carry them.
Oh dear, oh dear. So how did you manage to establish yourself outside India?
I think it was just social media.
All right. So social
People
media
just
that
learned
really
about it
helps.
from social media, and they got back inquiring about how they could place an order.
Okay.
And then when they had someone coming down to India, or they came down themselves, they picked it up.
Okay. So Sophie was doing business or creating board games. Was this a part of your family life even earlier when you were a little girl, or was this something of your own? Absolutely.
Actually, in my family, none of us are business people.
Oh.
My father also was a he worked as an accountant for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Even my husband was an engineer. He's no more.
I'm
Actually, I
sorry.
lost my husband when I was very young. So it was quite therapeutic also for me to do all this. I became a caregiver for my mother who was suffering from Parkinson's for 31 years.
Oh,
When I started this, in fact, the caregiving had increased for my mother, and this was really very therapeutic for me to take out time during those stressful days
right.
and do something which brought a lot of happiness to me.
Very interesting.
And I could spread that happiness to others who got the games.
Right, absolutely, it would. And so, Sophie, so the embroidery part, did you learn it, professionally, or was it an art passed down to you by your mom or whoever in your family?
My mom. My mom was very good at everything, you can say, from tailoring to embroidery,
Oh,
um, crochet, knitting. But she stressed more on tailoring
okay,
because that's what she learned from her mother, saying that without tailoring, you can't wear your clothes. Without
lovely,
embroidery, you can still wear your clothes. So
lovely.
my passion was always embroidery.
Yeah,
I had to stick to more of tailoring. But
yeah,
when this opportunity of SoSophie came about
right.
and people started appreciating the board games, I
Mhm.
said, why not? I get an opportunity to fulfill my passion of embroidery.
Fantastic. So I would ask you this question now, that with the difficult times that you had and yet you began this business, would you call yourself successful and an inspiration to others?
Inspiration to others, I think it depends on others how they take it. But
Mhm.
as far as success is concerned, I think success also depends on how happy you are,
Right.
not just financially or making a name for yourself, but if you're happy, I think at the end of the day, you feel you're successful.
Absolutely beautiful, and you look happy, and that proves that you are successful. And as far as inspiration is concerned, you definitely are. The minute I read about you, I was so amazed by how you began this whole thing. And then I started reading up more about you, and as I read more about you, I couldn't hold myself back but try and connect with you. And thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me. What message would you leave behind for our viewers? And not in particular, I would say to youngsters as well as the women or the men at home, with due to COVID. And what would you tell them?
I would say there is no age limit to learn anything new also. And if you have a passion or you have uh, put something away just because of compulsion to work in another field, you can
Hmm.
always start at any time as a hobby or then take it ahead.
Yeah,
I also learned technology very late after starting SoSophie. I learned gradually to put up my pictures myself. My daughters used to do it initially. So I think it's always good to learn new things every day.
right,
And if you want to start something, you have to just take the first step and go ahead and do it.
right. So what you mean is that believe in oneself and take
Believe in yourself.
yeah,
And
and
once you believe in yourself, I think the universe conspires to help you.
fantastic, fantastic. Sophie, did you have your family supporting you to do this?
Very much. My daughters, both my daughters have been extremely supportive. In fact, creating the brand logo was my daughter's work because she's a designer. And writing the text, I also give the manual on how to play the games,
Hmm.
the instruction manuals, so that it becomes easier for people who have never played the game.
Sure,
And all that text was written by my daughter, the other daughter.
wonderful.
So my daughters, and they've actually helped me and motivated me to push the envelope.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you, Sophie. It's women like you who teach us that it's never too late to become an entrepreneur. Your message is very inspiring, and taking that one step ahead is all that we all need to do, and believing in ourselves. Of course, family plays a huge, huge role too. So, wishing you the best for creating more games and reaching out to many, many, many more people around the world. Thank you, Sophie. It was a pleasure talking to you, and good wishes always.
Thank you, Hemali. It was a pleasure talking to you too. Thank you very much.